Alright, what's up Carlton people? Good to be on video this time. Got myself a little tripod and I'm going to be experimenting with the video format for the podcast. It's going to be available as it usually is in sound for you to listen on the way to work or wherever it might be. But for some of you who prefer the video format, we're also going to be including that maybe once a week, twice a week. We'll see how it goes. I'm always up for trying new things. Teams are in. Obviously, we play on the Sunday, 6:10 a.m. for me here in Tel Aviv, and I'm getting sick of getting up in the morning, early morning, to watch us not put in a good performance. So I'm hoping that this week isn't the same. Now, obviously, given that it's a Sunday game, as an extended bench, so what we have at the moment is Cruiser and Jed Lamb are both out. Cruiser obviously being managed with that terrible heart injury. I mean, I'm not sure if you call it an injury, but that heart condition that he suffered from last week, that's a bit of a scare. It's a bit unprecedented. I know that Caleb Marchbank had the same issue the week before and played the week after, but Cruiser seems to be one of those guys that just, we have a little bit more caution with him. I think given his history and given his importance to us as a club moving forward as well, I think it's the right move to keep him out of the side. Jed Lamb, he's obviously suspended. He's let himself down a little bit. It's interesting because obviously Sicily is out injured now, and that just so happened to be the case. But yeah, I thought Jed Lamb was putting together a body of work to be proud of. I thought he had shown a little bit of improvement. His ability to win the ball around the stoppages and impact the game when he didn't have a specific role to play, an antagonist role. So a little bit disappointing for him, but hopefully he'll be back next week and putting his hand up for selection and hopefully finishing the season strongly. I can definitely see some improvement there. The ins for the moment, we've got Wiedering, Casbolt, Nick Graham, Kim Lebois, who isn't on the list there. Whoops. And Matthew Lobe and Matthew Wright. So for me, it looks pretty straightforward. It looks as though Lobe will come in because Cruiser's definitely out. And it's interesting because Jacob Wiedering has been named on the field. So I think he'll come in. So I think it's going to be Cruiser and Lamb for Lobe and Wiedering. If that's the case, I like it. I like the fact that Harry stays on the side, particularly the fact that he can play alongside Charlie. I think that's the way to go personally. And we're all at a point now where we know we're not going to get a lot out of this season. We knew that we weren't going to be playing finals some time ago. And so it's important moving forward to get our preparation right for 2019. So yeah, look, I mean, it's an interesting one. I would expect Harry to play the rest of the season. I would expect Paddy Kerr to play a few more games to finish off the season. We just signed him and Tom De Koning to contract extensions. Kerr to the end of 2019, and Tom De Koning is on a 3-year deal, I believe, tying him to the club until the end of 2021, if I'm not mistaken with that. Kerr has just been chipping away. I like it. He's just been chipping away each year. Obviously, he got a bit more exposure this year at the senior level. I would love to see him play a few more games to finish off the season. But yeah, we're really at an important phase right now. And as you can see in the media, everyone's come out to have their say. Sauce has been doing interviews. Mark Lejudice has been doing interviews. Someone who we haven't really heard of for the most part of the season, really. And I did mention it in the podcast maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago that we haven't really heard from him. That's just a personal preference of mine. I like our leaders to be heard. I know that at the end of the day the work needs to be done away from the club, but I think us as supporters, and given the type of club that we are, we want a little bit more from our clubs. The good clubs seem to have strong vocal presidents, and so I think that's where we want to be not too different from them. Obviously, because of our on-field performance as well, we're all looking for answers. Why isn't Harry playing? What's happened to the list? Is Bolt's going to get the sack? Things like that. So it's been an important week for us. But more importantly, we need to back up well, we've come out and everyone's stuck together, and we're sticking to a plan. People have been eyeballed, people have been put in their place, and it'll all fall apart if we now come out against the Hawks and just sort of throw the game away and not give effort. Now, the Hawks aren't going too well. They have the ability to drop and be inconsistent with their form. So it is an opportunity for us to maybe make a game of it. I don't really have confidence in us winning the game, but I do have confidence in us putting in a strong effort. I know that they've got some Hall of Fame type players on their list, and I think it's going to be, for the most part, a great experience and learning curve for our youngsters. But having said that, if we can somehow put a game plan together, and Bolts can probably help with this given that he's had a lot of time at Hawthorn, if we can somehow put a game plan together to get under the skin of the Hawks, to frustrate them, then who knows, maybe we can make a game of it. So looking forward to seeing that. I will not be putting out an episode tomorrow when the final teams are out, but I'll be doing a review after the game. So I'll catch you there. I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully we can be smiling again at something. Really, we're looking for something. I think it was 0-0 last week in the St Kilda game, and after 2.5 minutes nobody had scored, and I was really happy with that because we weren't losing. So it kind of goes to show where we're at. We did obviously show a little bit of a comeback in that first quarter, but it was pretty much nothing from there. So hoping for a better week this week. Fingers crossed, stay strong, and I'll speak to you on Sunday.